Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thank you for joining Shop Talk Live. My name is Rick Ramirez, also known as Rick's 2 Cents, along with my fellow co-host, Steve from Steve Makes Everything.
Howdy, y'all.
Looks like quite a few people already in the live. Thank you for joining, checking in. Let us know where you're joining from. And of course, if you have any questions, let us know as well. Let's see. Saturn's Living Graving said, I made it early tonight. I hope everyone's doing well. I made it down to the wire, Steve said. I thought you weren't going to make it. Yeah, but Steve, I had someone ask me a question today, and it was kind of funny, but I think it's like the polar opposite of kind of like where we're at in our lives. Like you've paid your dues and you're at a level that I'm still working to achieve, right? And I think it's a different, it's an age level, right? But it's a good thing to look up to for sure. And it's also something that I think that people have to have understand that like not everyone's independently wealthy, right? And this all of a sudden became filthy rich, that you worked your life and you paid your dues, and that's how you're able to achieve that level of success. You know, it's sticking to the grind, so to speak. So someone said to me today, Rick, I've been following you on your personal page as well as on your social media accounts, and I noticed that you go to work and then you come home and work and then you go to YouTube and you work. Do you have any hobbies? I said, hobbies? Yeah, do you have any hobbies? And I was like, well, what do you think I do on YouTube? And they said, well, isn't that work? And I said, well, yeah, but those are my hobbies. And they said, well, don't you do anything for fun? And I said, well, I ride a Harley. I like to fish. I like bonfires, you know, snowmobiling, stuff like that, you know, ATVs. Yeah, we don't do that. It seems like all you do is work. And I said, you know what? I got a lot of work to do. You're right. And at some point in time, I'm going to be retired. Maybe I can slow down pace my pace a little, but for right now, man, I still gotta run in high gear. I still got a lot of years to pay dues, you know. But I don't think everybody understands that. I think we're wired differently, right?
So I'll warn you in advance when you do achieve my lofty age, you end up working harder than you did when you were working. So you know, be prepared. It's not like you don't go to work that day and you just, you know, sit out on the back deck and drink beer.
Vacation,
you might do that for a day, but then the work piles up.
Yeah, you know, that's what I was trying to say is that like I do see people like on Facebook or whatever, kind of nonchalantly having nothing to do. And I think because the amount of property I own, I don't have a lot of time that I'm doing nothing. Put it that way. Like I'm always.
I don't want time where I'm doing nothing.
Yeah. See, and that's what people are saying to me. Like, don't you want time doing nothing? Like, don't you have hobbies? Don't you want to just, I'm like, not really.
Yeah. At the same time, I don't want to feel like I have a job. So, I mean, that's why I do what I do, right? Because it's, you know, some people would think it's work. And if you saw my shop right now, you'd go, man, it's piling up. But,
yeah.
But it's work I want to do as opposed to work I have to do.
Yeah. I watched why am I blank for words? CNC guy who was on one of our lives. I bought the plastic stuff from him.
Yeah. I forget his name. Man. We're terrible.
Yeah, I forget his name. Sorry, guys, if anyone guys know what I'm talking about. But I watched one of his videos the other day, and he was talking about learning a skill set, learning how to use your CNC, right? And he said that and I thought it was funny because it was kind of like we were talking about how I was saying that I was trying to do things that are easily achievable for me on a laser to start doing them on a CNC because I can take it up a level, right? But there's a learning skill to do that, right? He said, stop trying to learn a skill set. Learn to make something in particular. So like sell something that forces you to have to learn how to make it, right? And then build upon that. Stop trying to just like gaze at the stars and say, I'm just going
to. And this is something I've been formulating a plan to work this into at least one video. That it's not the skill you need, right? You develop the skill as you make the things you want to make, right? Or make the things that you want to sell. And you develop the skills that you need to do that. It's not like you sit down at one day with a big thick book and go, okay, I'm going to learn how to do 3D CAD. Right? You can learn some basics, but you have to be able to apply it to something. Otherwise, it just goes in and out, right? Like right through.
Right.
So, and this has to do with that same kind of theme of not relying on a single tool to make every project, right? Like, we talk a lot about laser engravers, but if that's your only tool, you're doomed, right? You need to have a tool set. And sometimes it's a tool like a table saw or a saw, but quite often it's multiple tools to make a project. Like the project is the focus, not the skill or the tools, right?
Yeah, I thought that was a totally cool way to think about it. It was like it was almost like sink or swim, kind of like advance your skills and what's actually going to make you successful. You're not just trying to make something to make something,
Well, I do that sometimes, but quite often the thing I make is a bunch of garbage. But
so I skipped live from how do you say this, Steve? I'm assuming this is Canada or France or something.
Well, it's actually, so I would say Levi, but it's actually in Quebec, so it's French. It'll be like Levi or Levois or something.
Levaque.
Well,
there you go.
Where is Quebec?
Very fancy, Tim. Thanks for stopping in and joining us.
Tim's on his way to see family, so
I'm surprised. One heck of a drive, Steve.
Yeah, it looks like you don't really appreciate how big your country is until you drive it, right? And it's like I drove from the center of Canada to the East Coast, and you look on a map and, well, it's only that long. It can't take too long, but it takes like 16 hours, right? Like, it's brutal.
I think what's crazy is that, like, how much vast land is not densely populated. Like, the United States is so just overbuilt, right? Like,
yeah, well, the U.S. is mostly on the coasts, right?
What's that?
The population.
I'm just saying, like, everywhere. Like, it's, I remember when I was like 5, Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, like Michigan, like the 4 neighboring states. When you drive down the road, you just could see farm fields as far as the eye could see. And you just don't see that anymore. Like, it's becoming less and less. And it's like, hello, guys, we need food from somewhere, remember? You build a subdivision everywhere, and someone has to plant food. And certain foods grow in certain states for obvious reasons, right? So,
yeah, you don't try and grow watermelons in Nebraska.
Yeah. Uberfer. Hello from Wisconsin. Hello. Tony said hello from Cleveland, Ohio. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for dropping in, Tony.
Tony. I got to see where
Ordinary Woodworker said hello from Portland, Oregon. Hello. Thank you for dropping in, saying hello. Oh, I will not be on next week's live. Skylar will be with you.
Oh, cool.
Because I will be in Disney with Disney.
I want to get Skylar's perspective on how she's doing with CNC, because she's doing.
Yeah, I figured she'd have a ton she'd want to share right now with her new CNC and stuff. So something to look forward to.
We can actually talk about her CNC work.
I see. Ordinary Worker said, "Hey, Steve."
Hey. Santa says, sorry, Steve, now that I just saw this, working on getting a handle on my mom's bills since she moved down here. Yeah, I had to deal with my parents there last year. And I mean, they're both well into their 80s. And man, when you're young, you totally rely on your parents for everything, mostly money when you become a teenager. But when they get to this age, they totally rely on you, right? And it's just, it's interesting how it just flipped, like it was almost instantaneous.
It's funny you said that, Steve. I actually posted something on Facebook. I shared it from a memory from last year, and seeing that about that I think it's important, the things you distill in your kids, you know, and that those values, those core values distill in your kids, they're gonna circle back, right? And if you didn't make those core values and family values into the kids when you need them, they might not be there for you, you know. So it's like that means a lot, you know. Not
Yeah.
everyone's super close, but that does mean something. The fact that you, I guess that's becoming more of an old school thing. You taking care of your kids nowadays. People just don't care.
Yeah, it depends where you live, right? North America, that's true, but Europe still has those values, right? Your parents had a house, you grow up, you take over the house, but then you look after your parents, and your kids do the same thing in the next generation. So
yeah, Mexicans and Italians are a lot that way too, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah. Tom said, "Good evening, everybody. Hello, hello. Let us know if anyone has any questions." Dave said, "Good evening from South Milwaukee, close to me in Chicagoland area." Dewey said, "Hello, all." That Sunlu kicked on. It sounds different.
What's that? Sunlu?
The Sunlu, the dryer thing.
Oh, the dryer.
It has the like a maintenance mode where like if it just
So I finally got some Sunlu ASA filament this week.
What's ASA?
ASA is like ABS,
okay.
but better, like for outside use.
Okay, so it won't absorb the moisture.
Yeah. Well, after it prints, it doesn't matter if it absorbs moisture anyway, but it handles the sun for like 20 years. It's good forever.
Oh wow. Nice.
And it prints really nicely. Although, man, your printer turns into an oven.
Because
it's a heated chamber, right? So it heats it up to like, I don't know, 70 C or something, and it's just, but it prints nice. It prints fantastic. So I have a couple of videos I want to do, and I think I mentioned I switched basically to Sunlu filament for most things now.
Nice. My bamboo printer's still down. I need to talk to them and say what's going on. I think I'm just gonna email the distributor in the area. But
yeah.
But it was just funny that they literally sent me an email. "Hey Rick, how's things going? Blah blah blah," and boom, things stopped working. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, they're going good. Click. Are they still going well?
It was literally like the same day. It was like, come on, man.
Yeah.
I'm still laughing over this name now, Mr. Grinch. You need to tell me the Steve older you are.
Yeah, that was your story. Like he's saying, do you really need to tell me that I'm older than you are?
It was just the reason I brought it up was because people just say that like all they do is work, and it's like I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like it's not as if I don't spend time with my family. I don't prioritize my family, but I'm a provider, man. And, that's why if I chose to make a family, it's my job to provide for that family. That's kind of old school, I guess. McPhil 3D said hello from South Carolina. Hello, hello.
Hey, Phil. Hey, Jim. Jim says hi from a warm Chicago.
Yes, I've been running my sprinklers all week, man. It has been hot.
It was a warm Halifax until today. Man, it's cold today. I don't know why, but summer just won't seem to start.
Yeah, it's been warm here.
We had a couple of hot days, and then it would get cold. And then we got like 2 inches of rain yesterday. Yeah. So, but we needed the rain.
Normally at my work, they keep the AC at like 62. I literally like go to work in like a flannel when it's 100 degrees outside. My wife's like, "Why are you dressed like that?" I'm like, "Because I'll be like this at work, like freezing." But they didn't turn the air on when it first flipped. Everything was early. I was dying sweating at work. But today they got the AC back on, so it wasn't too bad. But yeah, the heat's coming in Chicago.
Has your wife gotten you like a Quebec flannel jacket or anything yet?
Yeah, I have the Elmer Fudd looking hat with the side ears and the matching jacket.
the red with the black flannel
Yes.
stripes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's very classic Quebec.
Yeah, I have that. I have one for sure.
Yeah,
And my son has a matching one.
here flannel is affectionately called hickskin
Oh, what's this?
because only the Hicks wear it.
Oh, like Hicks?
Yeah, the Hicks.
Okay.
Ah,
Yeah,
so
I call it my good old boy hat.
Sam says, "Hi Steve, I saw your review of the X-Tool M2. How does it do air assist?" So there's a couple of ways. First of all, I got to say the M2 has basically killed off the diode laser market. Like if you're going to buy a diode laser and it's not an M2, you're probably making a mistake. This thing is just so easy to use. Off my soapbox. So the air assist, there's kind of two things they do. They have it seems to be a little beefier fan inside the laser modules, but that thick cable that runs up to the gantry actually has an air hose in it, and when you plug it in, it blows air down along the back of the laser module down onto the surface. It works really well. Like this thing is a brilliant design.
What's the works with?
It's about 600 and change by 450 or something.
So how many inches?
I don't know. I don't work in inches.
600 millimeters, you said? So
Now you're going to challenge me to go find the exact numbers because someone will buy an M2 and it'll be 590 and they'll go. Steve said it was 600.
Just in my mind, I can't even grasp what that is. The size.
So 300 is a foot. Just go with that. It's pretty close anyway.
Okay.
So it's a couple of feet by a foot and a half.
So it's decent work size space.
Yeah, it's so almost the entire cabinet is workspace.
Nice.
There's a bit over on the side, and
as this fad's coming, that all of a sudden mini is coming back, right? I mean, like laser CNCs. Like, where did this come from? Is it because of our economy? Everyone's making minis again. I thought it was like everyone's getting big, and we were seeing like 4x8 CNCs and 4x8.
Well, yeah, you had
now the minis are back.
Well, I think what's happening is they're creating they're eliminating the middle class, right? You got the people who can only afford like 100 by 100 millimeter, or maybe it's their first laser, and then you got these people like Clack who sleeps in his, and it's there's the stuff in the middle is disappearing, right? But most importantly, what X-Tool did was, aside from like the fancy fact that it's like an inkjet printer as well and a couple of other things, they I forgot where I was going to go with this. They made it cheaper than the F1 Ultra, which is the thing it replaces, right? And cool. So like this thing is like 500 US, and we're back to a $500 laser or $500 or $600 laser, but this one actually works.
That's cool.
This thing is sweet.
Yeah, because we were saying a diode like run to the mill, high end, really good layers, like $1,500, 11.
Yeah. Now keep in mind the $1,500 one is probably a 60 watt laser or something.
Right.
But
so how many?
Whereas this thing caps out at 20.
Okay.
They did originally talk about a 40 watt version of it, but they seem to have abandoned that, which I don't mind.
I don't think I'd recommend anyone under a 20, but I think a 20 watt is plenty power.
I have the 10 watt one, and it cuts really well for like you look at it and go, oh, it's only a 10 watt, but you can cut a decent amount of material with it.
The only reason I say that is because there's not most times a drastic difference in price between the 10 and the 20, right? I mean, you got to wait a couple of weeks to put a couple more $100 in the bank. It may be worth waiting. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's not even an option. Just start where you can.
Yeah. So I also have a rotary for it. I'll do a follow-up video to show how the rotary works, because like there's no space in the cabinet for a rotary. And what they do is you pop the laser module off, because you can literally pull it off, and you put it horizontal, and you put the rotary in front of it. So it's not the safest attachment in the world, but it's, if it's a 10 or 20 watt laser and it's firing into acrylic, it's not going anywhere anyway because it won't cut acrylic. So it's a bit of an odd configuration, but it's actually a really nice design from a design perspective. So I'll do a follow-up.
Had a cousin say after he retired, he couldn't figure out how he had time to work before. I think I've heard you say
I say this all the time. It's like, how did I ever squeeze like a 40, 50 hour a week job in? Because I don't have time for that now.
Right, he said, oh, sure, this is coming from a guy that works one night a year.
Santa, of course. not us.
That's funny. That's funny. Said you try going around the world one day and one night. Nice one. Radu said, "Is that an invite? I'm there."
Yeah, I'd go. I'd hop in the sleigh for a night, even though I can't stay up past 10 o'clock. But so David says, "Steve, good review on the M2." So, what does a print cartridge cost? I don't know. You can look now. They have the pricing up there. I got into a bit of a heated debate on my channel in the comments about this, because somebody said, "Well, the print cartridge is really small," but this thing isn't for printing like documents, right? This thing is for printing little designs all over pieces of wood and paper. So it doesn't have to be huge, but it also has to move around on the gantry, so it can't weigh, a half a pound. It can't have a big pile of ink in it.
Yeah.
And the other thing they did in the ink cartridge is they added black. So you have 3 colors in black, which the previous one, the F1 Ultra, had just 3 colors, and then they made black out of the 3. Ross, our good friend Fohammer, he did a really good review on this as well. Go watch his.
Nice.
He's a little more honest than I am, we'll say.
Brutally honest, as they would say.
Yeah, well, yeah. I was talking to him today, actually, and I expressed my gratitude for him putting his video together because I thought it was really good.
Dewey said, "Kind of tall for an elf, but I'll stoop down."
On your knees. Sounds like my old boss.
Chris said, "Good day from down under." Hey, Chris, thanks for joining.
Hey, Chris.
We said, "Going to be on vacation next week. A great time catching up on some laser engraving behind." Nice one, nice one.
Right. That's what you should do on vacation. That and maybe a little bit of time with the family, but
yeah. One of our subscribers actually reached out because I guess they wanted to try to meet Roger and I because they're in the area on some kind of work. Sorry, I've been slammed. This weekend probably be your only chance. Otherwise, I'm scooting out to Florida. So I'll circle back if you're watching on live in your email today. Sorry, I haven't been ignoring you. I've just been nuts. It's farm season, guys. So yeah, I've been being a Mexican.
I'd say I have Rick's address. I'll just send it to everybody. You can all show up at his place at the same time.
You better bring beer because that's all I'm saying. Says I wouldn't want to paint it. Okay, I must have missed that was for. They were battering back and forth, making jokes. So. Cheers from Blitzville, Nebraska.
New Brunswick.
Okay. Download Junkie Adventures. Nice one. I like that name. Let us know if you guys have any questions.
NE, right?
Distilling your kids, get them drunk. You know what? When I was a kid, the rule in our family was if you went to a family party when we were like 18, 19, you were allowed to drink. You just weren't allowed to leave. And it was one of my uncles or something. But I would say that our generation was different, right? Like there's kids now 21, 26, and they're still living at home. The maturity level is a lot different than some of this younger generation. But I don't know. Was it right that they did that?
What I found interesting is the next generation doesn't seem to drink very much.
Wow, they get high.
I'm getting an echo back from you, I think. Yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, you were like, I mean, the drinking age, when I was a kid was 18. And, when you turned 18, man, well, in fact, maybe if you were even 16, you found a way. But kids today just don't seem to be drinking much anymore.
No, they're actually saying that bars are closing down because
I mean,
exactly that.
Some of it I think is the cost. Just like, it's a lot of expensive urine, right? Like it's just,
Yeah.
So, and now that we have online dating, you don't have to go to a bar to pick up a partner. So
Kevin said, hi, R. Hey.
Rest, relaxation, and
Listen, any updates how Roger's come along?
I haven't talked to him, actually.
I'll be honest, I haven't talked to him. I sent him a couple unappropriate jokes that we, go back and forth sometimes. But we haven't really talked on that level. But I said I once dated a girl who had a twin. People always ask, how could I tell them apart? I'd say, easy. Allison painted her nails, and Bob has a head. Bob has a beard. I knew triplets that were 2 boys and 2 girls, and we thought one was gay and one was straight. And when we got older, they flipped. We're like, okay.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No. Hello from East Tennessee. Hello.
Roy MC, is that a new name?
Yeah. Are you new? Honestly, I don't recognize the name. And if you are not new, my apologies. But let us know how you found us.
The classic. Chris says,
there you go.
The Monty Python. I'm a lumberjack and I'm okay.
Yeah. Chris said, I sleep all night and work all day. There you go.
Yeah.
But do you wear high heels? He wants 24 inches. He wants the high platforms. He's gonna do that dance with the Pee Wee Herman. You guys remember that?
I think he's talking about the bed size of an M2,
but no black boots have big soles.
Hey, look at this.
Yeah, I just saw that.
V.
Where have you been? Where have you been?
Welcome back.
Long time no see. What's going on, V? Jack and the Shot said, hey guys, hello. Thanks for joining. A lot of people checking in. It's good to see some faces back we haven't seen in a while. Well, let us know if you have any questions. Rick looks extremely tired, but your yard looks amazing. See what I'm saying? Everyone knows I've been busy. Yeah,
my lawnmower, my robot mower looks after my lawn. I actually got a new one. I got a Luba 3 now, sitting in my shop. I don't know when I'm going to get to get it.
I've yet to find a mower to be able to keep up the property I have, and I've yet to find a mower that I can daisy chain. Like I asked them, even the one I have, can we have 4 of these? Oh, software just wouldn't support it, and blah blah. I'm like,
you see. So Motion, the Luba, you can I have 2 of them now, right? And
within the same software, you can run them.
Yep.
Oh, that's cool.
You just give each of them a task, and off they go.
That's cool. Yeah, because the one I have does amazing job. I love.
So how much lawn do you cut?
4 acres. Yeah,
so I cut almost 2, but my mower's out every day.
Yeah,
and like some days not.
How high do you cut your grass? How high do you cut your grass?
I'll say 65 millimeters. I don't know what that is. It's like 2.
I cut mine at 3.5.
It's like 3 inches or something.
Okay. Do you know
I
what
was
type of
cutting
grass?
it longer, but if I cut it a little shorter, it keeps the dandelions under control. So
Yeah. Well, I can't. On the front of my house, I do the weed control and all that stuff. It looks like a carpet, right? And but the backyard, there's no way. I mean, I'd spend 10 grand if I was trying to treat the whole thing, right?
yeah, that's the thing with big lawns. It's like I the very front lawn I look at.
Yeah.
Partly because when I look out the window here, I have to see it. But
Yeah, but I water it, everything. Backyard.
and just the dandelions just drive me crazy. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. My neighbors, man, I've never seen anyone with so many dandelions. I didn't know that was possible. It was almost like you're attempting to grow them. Like, how do you have that many? They're just like
yeah,
millions.
I have a neighbor like that too, and it's like it's like agriculture to them. It's like they farm
Yeah.
these things.
Yeah.
And we have, I don't know if they have, if you have it, we have no mow May, because the belief is it helps the bees. But I have driven around and I have seen more dandelions than there are bees in this world. So I don't think the few that I mow off my lawn is going to impact the bee population that much.
That same neighbor asked me, Rick, can I ask you a question? I'm like, sure. They're like, how do you not have any dandelions? I was like, because your yard is so bad. Every other month, I have to put granules down, and I spray treat like every 2 weeks anywhere I see. So you cost me between $600 to $1,000 a year to not make my yard look like yours. And she goes, oh.
Well, that's the thing here. I'm surrounded by people who don't care. Like when I bought this house, basically everything green on the lawn was a weed, right? The person, whoever owned it before me, didn't really look after things. So I was out there working on it one day. The neighbor across the road comes over and he says, "What are you doing?" I said, "Oh, I'm going to plant some grass." Good luck. It's like, well, my lawn is nice and green now. You know, his is still just weeds. But unfortunately, every time the wind blows, his lawn becomes my lawn. Yeah, see, we can't get a lot of this stuff here.
Lawn aerator. Like, this is what I tell people. Go grab a flathead screwdriver. Walk up to your lawn and stab your lawn. If it doesn't go funk, you need this.
Yeah, so I would need dynamite, because if you poke a screwdriver into my lawn, you're going to hit rock. Guaranteed.
Right, but what I'm telling you is this is a game changer. Like, this isn't fertilizer, and if you can't get this where you live, then you could use Johnson & Johnson baby soap.
Yeah,
that's the other way. Like, that's what they did in the 50s. But like I posted a picture online. It said I called it the Amazon walkway, right? Because from the street to my front of my house, I literally have it's yellow, right? It's all yellow, and they don't even walk straight. They have like a curve.
Is it shaped like the crescent?
Yeah. It's not even straight. Like, they created, and then you can see, like, maybe they thought maybe they were ruining my grass. So they started walking a different way, so there's a little path to that other path. I'm like, just stay on the path then. You know what I mean? But I put that down. I put some stuff down. I've been watering, and it looks like, I think hopefully within 2 weeks, it's all gone. But man, it's been crazy.
Chris, it's hard to get a lot of chemicals here. Like you can't get Roundup here. You can get it if you have, like, you can go into the farm center and you can say, all you have to say is, "I've got poison ivy." Then you can get some.
Oh, Canadian
Tire. If you use it anywhere, they get cranky with you. And
environmental friendly stuff.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's, I guess there's some merit in it. But
I'll have to mail you some packages. Chris said, Rick, I see Skylar has laid down the channel for doing inlays, and one of her clips is amazing. So if you guys didn't hear, I will not be on the live next week because I'm taking my children to Disney World. However, in my absence, Skylar will be on here, so I'm sure she'll have plenty to talk about her CNC. She's been doing some amazing work.
The inlay tool paths in VCarve are awesome. Like, it's just so simple compared to what the very first inlay I did with VCarve was kind of first principles, and it was hard, but the reward, it looked great. But now it's just click, 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 and you're done.
Nice. You said hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Chris said they don't drink so much because they are stoned. That's exactly what I just said to Steve. This generation, they all smoke weed, or they all do those vapes. And here's the thing to me is like, and I know weed is totally different from when we were younger because now they're like, it's like medical grade. It's way stronger. It's way whatever. But at least if you're smoking weed, it's a plant, right? I know they could put chemicals in plants, but at least it's a plant. When you're doing the vapes, it's 100% chemicals that you're just putting in your body. I don't really know what the hell's in that stuff.
Yeah, it's
I
the
almost said that's worse.
it's the melamine and all the bad things that are in there, right?
Yeah, I would say that's worse.
Like here, I mean, weed is legal anyway. Like you can grow it in your yard if you want.
Right.
So it's not a big deal here anymore. But although the guy who dropped off my GWIC M-Core laser this week, at 7 o'clock in the morning, he arrives at my house and he stands beside me and it's like, holy cow, man, do you still have the joint sitting in your ashtray? It's like yeah, he was pretty great.
If you want another person meet up, I'm in. Yeah, you know what? If you guys are in the Chicagoland area and you're interested in doing a get together, maybe we can meet at a bar somewhere. Have some chicken and wings, something like that, a couple beers and wings, and maybe go live and let everyone say hello. That'd be cool. Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd be down to do something like that. But I just think this week is not a good idea as of I'm leaving. So honey-do list is long, so I need to get done. But give me 2 weeks, and if anyone is in the Chicagoland area and wants to meet up and we'll plan something in advance, I'm down.
My wife has company coming next week, and my to-do list is still an arm long. It's like, yeah, I might be able to find some time tomorrow because I was going to record a video, and I got tired of fighting with this laser, and I just said that, yeah, I'm not going to do it. Too bad, so sad.
You said I've been going to bed by 7 now. Yeah. I get up work super early.
That's because she's so young.
They said, but she's on vacation this week, so she joined the drop in to join us. Thank you.
Thanks.
On vacation and spending some time with us. How you like that one? Oh, look at this. Chris said, I saw HOA ban robot mowers because they're losing too much being able to find people. What? Let me read that again. I saw an HOA ban robot mowers because they were losing too much and not be able to find people.
Because they're silent.
I don't know. I just think I think HOAs will start banning them because they can't charge you some type of fee to have a landscaper cut your grass because you have your own mower. I think that's why an HOA would be against it.
Probably.
I think that's what it boils down.
HOAs aren't a big thing here.
Yeah, because their cousin is the one who's cut the grass. So there's someone they know. Someone greased their palm to get that kick. They're getting a kickback. And he took money out their pocket, and they're like, this ain't cool. That's what I think happened. I think like literally the stuff we watched as kids on the Jetsons, like at some point in time within our lifetime, a lot of those things are going to become real. Like when that mower's cut in the lawn, people stop in front of my house. I've had people even apologize. Yeah. I'm like, no, it's cool. It's cool. You know what I mean? But Amazon was out filming the delivery. He was filming on his phone, my mower cutting the grass. And then he got all like, I was going to be mad. I'm like, nah, dude, it's cool, bro. Go ahead, man. Do your thing. Like,
I live across the street, well, almost across the street from an elementary school, and every morning it's out there, and people will stop as they're taking their kids to school, walking to school, and they stop and watch it.
Yeah, so I think the bigger ones, the ones that are more like 4 feet by 4 feet, maybe like 4 blades, 3 blade wide, 54 to 60 inch decks. When those become trustworthy, and I say trustworthy because honestly, the smaller ones, if it hit your kid, the blades are so far in, if the safety, everything failed, probably nothing would happen, right? Because by the time it smacked you, if the safety didn't work, which they do work really well, the blades are so far, nothing would happen. Now you talk a 60-inch deck with 3-4 blades, First time I cut
Yeah.
someone's foot off, someone's going out of business.
I mean, most of the, well, like mine has a stereoscopic camera in it as well, right?
Yeah.
So the dog was out there on the lawn the other day, and my wife, I mean, the dog is this big, right? And my wife was all panicked because you see the dog, you see the mower, and it's coming closer, closer, and she goes, "Oh my God!" She's banging on the window as I'm standing there, and then the mower gets about 3 feet from him, and then turns and goes around him.
They just enabled a new feature now. I can actually watch live through the camera. I couldn't
I can do that. First person view.
Yeah, thought that was kind of cool.
And it's handy, especially if you have a big yard, because like I got trees and hills and all kinds of stuff in my yard, right? And it's like it's like my robot's affectionately called Birdie Bot.
We call it Mo.
If you read Harry Potter. So it's like I look around through some of the windows. It's like, where the hell's Birdie? Get on there. Oh, and you can watch what he's doing. Okay, I know where he is.
Yeah.
The new one has LiDAR. In addition to the other 5 ways it can determine where it is.
Yeah.
So
I like the whole AI feature. Does it take way longer the first couple of times to cut your lawn? Absolutely. But as it starts marking all these objects all over your yard, versus you manually doing it. Yeah,
the thing. Well, that's the thing, right? Like it takes 3 days for my mower to cut my lawn.
Right.
But whereas it takes me 2 hours, but those 3 days I can maybe casually notice it going by, as opposed to being out there for 2 hours a day or 2 or 3 hours a week. Because I usually cut it twice in the summertime, twice a week, and that takes 2 to 3 hours. So, and I mean, I got a tractor, right? It's not like a push mower. It's I'm taking like a 48-foot swath or 48-inch swath of grass every time I make a pass.
It said I recently saw a Rambo lawnmower doing a commercial robot 3x3x3. That's what I'm saying. So I think right now, for the most part, they're residential. I think once they're at that same level on the commercial levels.
Well, they have commercial ones. I mean, here at the airport here, I see them all the time. They're always out cutting grass beside all the roads, but they're starting to get used on golf courses. And the reason is because they can cut at night. They don't care whether it's dark, right?
Oh, yeah, that's cool. So that you're not ever affecting the golf course being used.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So there's like golf courses that have like 30 of these things, and they send them out like soldiers in the morning or at night, and they cut the grass overnight.
Eve said, "Mine's all weeds and fire ants." Yeah, ants.
She lives in Florida, right? They have a lot of. Is it Florida, V? They have a lot of fire ants down in the south, right?
Yes,
we have a few here, not too many.
Santa's Living Grid said, "We're getting so much rain here. I dread taking the push mower out this week." I haven't used the push mower in a long time.
Yeah, I don't have one anymore.
Oh, this is for you, Steve.
Chris says, "Tree Huggers had my favorite weed killer band." Yeah, that must be Kill-X or something. Weed X, 2,4-D.
Roundup.
Well, 2,4-D.
You can buy anything.
I still have some 2,4-D. I just, if things get really out of control, I wait for all my neighbors to go away in the summertime, and then I'll spray it.
Roy said, Roy MC, I wonder if he rides a Harley. My frustration with X-Tool, they make you dig for information like the price of ink for the M2 instead of just putting it on the page of the machine. This should be a little
they're not unique doing that, but like try and find canine crystals on ComMarker's site.
Yeah. Sometimes they don't want you to dig deep into the consumables and
well, they treat them as a big pile of accessories, right? So
right. Oh, we said Skylar is amazing at inlays. Oh, so next week's gonna be a hot live, guys. Seeing some of her work. We said I wish I'm probably older than everyone here. I doubtful. She said, "Yep."
That's probably Florida.
Chris said they used to make heaps for finding people having. Oh, they used to make heaps for finding people having too tall grass. I've actually called one of my neighbors a couple of times. It was ridiculous. What I told him was like, look, man, I have a 5-year-old. When your grass is 4 foot tall, mice come. When mice come, rats come. When rats come, snakes come. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I don't want that, man.
When I lived in Ottawa, the capital, there's a particularly snooty area of town, and they had a guy whose job it was to walk around the neighborhood and poke a ruler in people's grass to make sure it wasn't too long.
Oh, wow.
It's like, wow.
That's a little crazy. You want to take this one, Steve?
Travis sounds like another new name. I missed the beginning. Steve, you have been able to make any cuts with the M-Core yet? Yes. Actually, I did both metal and wood and acrylic. So both the fiber and the CO2 laser. I can't do, well, until today or yesterday, I couldn't do thick metals with the fiber because I didn't have any oxygen. I only had air, but got oxygen there now. Anyway, so feel free to reach out if you get stuck. So I actually had, so this is interesting, and I think Travis had the same experience. So they shipped me the laser, and then they said they were going to send somebody to my shop. Now, I live in the middle of nowhere, right? Like I'm 40 minutes from the nearest airport. And a guy from China, from factory, wandered into my shop and set everything up for me.
Oh, so he did? So I knew you were talking about, but I didn't know somebody actually did do it.
Yeah. In fact, he came back the next day because I was having some trouble with the camera, the overhead projection camera in the workspace. And he came back to see if he could fix it. It turns out it's a bad cable. They're going to send me a new cable. But he came back the next day just before his flight. Like it's like, okay, there's construction between me and the airport, and it's 40 minutes on a good day. So you better get going. No, I just want to get this done. So I don't know if he made his flight or not, but good guy. He was really,
So was it helpful to have him there? And
yeah,
do you think you've done it on your own?
Yeah, there was things there. I mean, it would have taken me forever to figure out.
So having said that, with your experience already with lasers, a complete noob, would it be way over their head without assistance?
So, well, with this current laser, yes, but keep in mind the lasers, and I guess Travis has one too. They only made like 5 of these things to ship to people, right? Mm-hmm. And 40% of it is on this call right now, apparently. So they wanted to make sure that everything went smoothly. And
so they're trying to make sure the success rate is really high, basically.
Well, yeah. And I mean, they started their Kickstarter program, I guess today or yesterday, and they got like $1 million in the first 20 minutes or something. So there's going to be people who are interested. Now, the thing I would warn people of is this is not like a metal fab, right? Metal fabs are for people who've never worked with metal before, but they kind of know how to use lasers and they want to cut metal. This is like a factory, like production manufacturing type laser. This thing is hardcore. So it works. It's built like a factory machine. It's configured like a factory machine. Like there are a million switches in their software. You don't really need most of them to run operational most of the time, but it's not like their control software is not what somebody would recognize from Xtool Studio, for example. It's a little more detailed. Well, it's a lot more complex, but once you get it, you can do like it cuts acrylic nicer than anything I've seen. Like you cut clear acrylic and the edges are perfectly clear.
Nice.
So it definitely has a place.
Mogus, I was thrown out of a Mercedes 29 minutes ago. Okay.
I don't know if that's the punchline or not.
Literally his next cup. Billy Joel did have a good classic hits album. All right.
Greatest hits. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, something's wrong. V said, "Are you stoned?"
Yeah, man.
Sounds like you need friends. V said, "That's hilarious."
Oh no, V's in Tennessee. There you go.
Yeah. Travis said, "I had a camera problem at first too. They also in one day decided to work." One day
so mine actually has a break in the cable. Like when the lid is open, it takes a beautiful picture of my shop. But when you close the lid, the camera stops working. So it's twisting the wire or the cable when you're closing the lid.
So thought it was worth mentioning since I'm definitely seeing a fair share of new names. The reason that we read these comments, we're well aware that you can see them, is because there's a lot of people who are listening to live, not necessarily watching. And then if and when there's a comment they'd like to comment on, they jump in front of a screen and type away. So that's what we read. We're well aware you can see them.
Santa says he wishes he could afford one of those. I don't know if he means the metal fab or the M-Core.
Both.
Yeah, so the thing that the M-Core has going for it is the price, right? For about the same price as a X2O P3, you get the same 80-watt CO2 laser plus a 400-watt fiber laser.
Yeah, it said M-Core.
It's the M-Core.
Chris said, has anyone tried doing an internal UV engraving on glass in a rotary yet? I have some thick beer glasses I might see if I can do something later this week.
How would you do it in a rotary? I mean, you could turn a glass upside down and engrave in the bottom of it if you just want to use the thick part. I mean, the side of the glass, it wouldn't be thick enough to engrave internally on.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty thick. 1/4 inch glass part.
Yeah. You'd have to have perfect focus. That glass better be smooth as, well, glass, really.
A very small engraving, too.
Yeah, well, you can get a small engraving for sure, but people would have to be able to see it, too.
You can engrave air bubbles. How about that? I just laser engraved frosted glass. Okay.
So, I mean, I've been, looking and working with shop tech for a long time, and things don't impress me all that often. But I was talking to a company today about a product that I'm going to eventually review on my channel, and they showed me some output from it, and I was literally blown away. It's like, I want that.
Very cool.
Like, that's my thumbnail, because no other machine in my shop or any shop that I know of can do this. Yeah, so I'm very keen to see it.
Very cool.
And that's about all I can say because I'm under NDA. But yeah, things don't impress me all that often, but this thing was like shocking.
Steve said, and that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, it's like Forrest Gump.
Lynn said, Win 3 Prince. Hey, everyone. Hello.
Hey.
Thank you for joining. Let us know if you have any questions. And Chris, the glass is about 3 to 4 millimeters thick. I like pushing things to the limits. I can see that because
with 3 millimeter, you should be able to focus fine enough to get into the center of the glass. It's tricky though, because the both surfaces of the glass are very close together, so you're going to get a reflection off the second surface, and it'll bounce back, and you'll get a maybe a second, like a ghosted image, a little lower than the one you're engraving. Yeah, especially with glass as opposed to K9.
I'm interested to see this, and I haven't heard anyone attempting to do this. I'm in a lot of different laser Facebook groups. I haven't seen anyone, so you might be the first, or at least the first to publicly announce it.
The first one to know that he shouldn't do this and just give up before he starts.
How's that song go? I'm gonna do some, shady shit. Yeah, here you go.
He's asking if I like the M Core better than the P3. Still haven't gotten a CO2 yet. For production use, I think the M Core is going to be just more of a workhorse. As far as ease of use, though, the P3 has it in spades, right? Like Xtool Studio has just killed everybody else from a usability perspective. Because the nice thing about say the P3 is you can do a design on the P3 in plywood, and then you can literally move that same design over to your metal fab, just change the machine and push the go button, and you'll get the same thing in metal. You don't have to redesign anything.
Sanders Laving Graven, you got to understand, we got to have hooks, right? He said he took us to the next drama mode when they say it's really good, then say next week's episode with Skylar, I think he's talking about. Yeah, so Skylar is very, very nice that she's fills in when she can. So
it's her part-time job. Her full-time job is just making amazing things with CNCs. You know what a CNC is, Rick? We have those now.
I know. B said, I wonder if you can paint one side black on the glass. Does that help the reflection?
Well, you can paint it black, but if it's like a UV laser, it won't care that it's black.
Win3 Prince said, my biggest issue right now is I need someone to talk to about getting a P3. I just can't clarify getting one other than I want one. Well, what are you trying to make? What's your client base? What's your niche?
Well,
what's your
so keep in mind the P3 is an 80-watt CO2 laser, fairly big workspace, but they still sell the P2S or even the P2, which are 40-watt CO2s. I mean, I don't have a P3. I still use my P2S, in part because I don't have room for a P3.
Yeah. So I have a 40-watt laser CO2, and I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm just saying that when they generally get smaller in the wattage rating, the workspace gets a lot smaller. So once you go 40 and above, the workspace tends to get a lot bigger.
Yeah. Well, that's because you're making that transition from, weekend warrior type crafting to you're in some kind of a business, right?
Yeah. Agreed. Fair assumption. Difference in price range. But it's just the point I'm trying to make is it's just not the laser strength, the workspaces you really gotta. That's a lot what you're paying for too as well.
Yeah. Well, the other thing the M Core has that the Xtool lasers don't have is it has a lifting table, so you have individual focus on the laser heads, but you can also, if you have a really tall item, you can drop the table, like the whole workspace can drop down and you can put your big piece in there. So you're not limited to 2 inches of travel or 1.5 inches of travel.
That's for you, Steve.
How big is the spot size on a 400-watt laser? It is a fiber laser, so it's pretty small. Like we're talking, 0.1 millimeter or smaller, even 0.09.
So the decent amount of people ready in live, if you're not already a member, I would highly suggest that you join our Facebook group. If you go to shoptalklive.club, it is not a website. It's an auto forward to our Facebook group, so we don't have this big long URL. I would suggest that you join it. It is not my Facebook group. It is not Steve's Facebook group. I'm saying this for a reason. This Shop Talk Lives, because if you're an influencer, YouTuber, woodworker, maker, etc., post away. You're not stepping on anyone's toes. Actually, we encourage it. And I also encourage people not to just post success stories, post fails. Steve and I, when we have a pretty bad fail, we tend to save them just so we can share, because it's you always make all these videos and everything comes out perfect and everything's great, and then you get that person just keeps hitting their head against the wall and they're like, what am I doing so wrong and why am I a loser? And it's like, you're not. Like, everyone has been at that point. So even if it's not something that's great, something that turned out horrible, sometimes just to laugh at yourself is the best stress relief you can get. And you wouldn't believe on maybe how they're encouraged to say, oh, thank God it wasn't just only me. So I would encourage you to share those as well.
Yeah, I think it's safe to assume that anytime anything happens with a laser, you're not the only one it's happened to.
Yes. Exactly. So please join. Yeah, so Disney should be cool. I'll bring out my my clack glasses. I'm saying clack glasses because I got the
Ray-Ban camera.
Yeah. See how those work out.
So
Because
that hackers can spy on you and your whole family.
I have Ring cameras everywhere, so and in the Chicagoland area, there's not a place you can go that don't have cameras. There's cameras everywhere, you know. So that is what it is. I just, yeah, I accept it. Speaking of that, my daughter's driving now, and my wife said, "I think we should put her air tag in her car." And I was kind of scary about that because of other people being able to track that, right? That was just made me kind of weird. What do you have experience with those air tags?
I have the only place I have some in my drawer here, but the only place I have an air tag is in my lawnmower.
So somebody swipes
in case somebody steals it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it basically stops working when it's off the property, but that won't stop somebody from doing something dumb, right?
Right.
But that's the only place I have them. Yeah, the challenge you run into could be a legal one because your daughter's over 18, right?
So I wouldn't hide from her. I'd just let her know she's on the side of the road, a flat tire or something, and she's
yeah, well, yeah, if it's not for devious intent, then
no, yeah,
it's like, what bar is she going to?
Yeah, no, my question would be that, like, because someone put one on my sister's car, and her son got in her car, and on his iPhone it said, "Hey, there's an AirTag near you."
Yeah.
And my sister didn't have an iPhone; she had an Android, so it never told her. And so they took the car to the police station to find it. And so I was wondering, like, if anyone has experience with this, if there's an AirTag, can anyone view that AirTag, or only the person who registered it?
They've tightened up security on them. Like the reason it tells you on your phone that there's an AirTag near you is so that for this exact reason, right? Like you got in your car and all of a sudden it's telling you there's an AirTag. Like the ones you own, it won't tell you about. You can run your Find My app and you can go find them. But if it's one it doesn't recognize, it'll notify you.
Yeah.
And that's with intent, right? So that people, because what's happening is people are sticking them on cars, and not so much to track where you go, but to track when you're not home.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
To rob your house.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy. Like, Dodges are a big problem here. And the reason Dodges are a big problem is because you can order any car with any engine, right? Like, if you want an SRT8 motor, you can get it in a pickup, a Charger, a Challenger, like anything, so like there's too many cars that can have the same engine. So Dodges have a high theft rate because it's so, they can put that motor in so many different things.
Well, and their security is terrible too. So.
Yeah. Chris, so the real question is, will it identify the FBI trackers? Probably not.
All you got to do to find an FBI tracker is just look for an unmarked white van.
There you go. If it says free ice cream, it's probably not.
Yeah, it's probably not FBI, but you probably don't want to go near that one either.
Just get in and let us know how it goes. Make sure you're above 18 years old. Yeah, crazy. No, I'm looking forward to the vacation. It should be pretty nice. But yeah, big interview coming up this Friday. So you guys, please keep me in your thoughts and prayers. Let me next level of my career. I've been on campaign trying to get this next level. So this would be great for me if I get this.
Yeah, it's so this is in your current company.
Yes. So
You have to interview in your current company. Don't they just pull your file and go, yeah, this guy's not stupid. We'll just put him in the job.
no, you'll go through 3 rounds of like a board.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's kind of like military ranks. I'm an
Yeah.
E3, so I'm going for an E4 position. So
there's limited places you can work too, right? Like it's like a power utility.
so it's illegal to be a monopoly when it comes to a power company.
Yeah.
So from like here in New York, we're technically owned by the same company, but it works for different companies. But I work for multi-opco, so like I work for more than one company. So it's weird, right? But like laws are different from New Jersey to Illinois to New York
No,
to
but
this.
it's not like there's a lot of opportunity in your area other than the job you have, right?
For what
Like
I do?
you pretty much have to stay in the same company unless you want to move.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. When you're in a territory and you're kind of niched into what we do, you got like 4 options, right?
Yeah.
Big companies, large companies, right?
Because the easiest way to get a promotion is to go work somewhere else. But
yeah,
but
and then
this was tech, right? Like you could be working away and you get a call from somebody. Like I worked for a big well-known US company, and you get a call from Facebook and they'd say, we'll give you add a 0 to your salary, we don't care, we'll give you that if you want to move. It's like, yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah. See, right now what's going crazy around here is everyone wants to hire you for these data centers. I've been offered $300,000 for these data centers, and I said, that's great, right? So what happens a year and a half from now when it's built? Am I out of a job? Or are you going to ship me off to somewhere across the country?
Yeah, the next data center undersea
right.
in off the coast of Spain.
Who knows? Right? Who knows? I mean, that's what you're signing up for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've been there, traveling, lived out of a truck, and I'm 46.
It's kind of like being a guy who works on an oil rig, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You never know where you're.
Yeah, part of the reason you're getting paid so well is because you're, the inconvenience of not being home.
It's like the inconvenience of not having your own life.
Yeah, exactly. When work got really slow here, I almost went and worked for Hawaii Tel. And in Hawaii, the cable company, the electrical company, and the telephone company are the same. So they want guys that are network guys, programming guys, electrical, like everything. And I'm like, well, I've done that. I started as a cable guy and went all the way up, and I was in IT before I went in the field. And it was crazy because they were actually, you kind of lived like in like dorms, like barracks. And you have money that they give you for expenses. And then you kind of work 6 months on, 6 months off, and they can fly you home. And if you want to work longer, they'll fly your family to you for 2 weeks, like a vacation the opposite direction. Vacation you instead of vacation away, because you can still work.
Yeah. Well, if you're working in Hawaii, you should live in Hawaii.
Yeah, I almost did it but I ended up getting this job and I didn't go. But
it was
pretty
expensive there, though.
Yeah, well, that's why they say
you'd need an extra $50,000 a year just to break even, right?
Yeah, I think that's why the whole barracks thing was like a thing, right? Because you're not paying housing, you're not paying like your livelihood expenses were kind of covered. So, but yeah, I didn't end up doing it, but it was a crazy thing. Sanders Living Graven says, sitting here working on a 3D print, and the first time I run into this, I have a question. What's the question? You want to take it, Steve?
So Win 3D Print says, I'm new to 3D printing and lasers. Bought the first laser in December, the M1 Ultra, not a bad laser. And by mid-January, now I'm thinking how to automate production. That's why I'm thinking the P3 with a conveyor. Yeah, I mean, if you're doing volume, an M1 is probably not the right machine because you can't put a conveyor on it. But you can put a conveyor on, if you're in the X tool world, an F2, an F2 Ultra, an F1 if you can find one still. So you don't have to have a P3, but it depends what you're working on. If you're cutting a lot of any acrylic, then you're going to want a CO2. But if you have an M1 now, you're probably not cutting a lot of acrylic.
There you go. Noodle said, "What's going on here? Hello, hello. What's going on? What's going on?" Daniel always said that. What's going on? All right, Steve said, laser. Sounds like great said the print tower is now vertical. It's horizontal. Why? Oh,
well, I think that depends on what you're printing.
yeah.
If you're printing two things side by side at the same level, but they're different colors, you're going to get more of a horizontal tower.
Yeah, unless you chose some kind of in the settings, it'll have that weird symbol that you didn't use the default what Bamboo suggests, and you put some weird kind of thing, so you resized your tower.
You can make the tower smaller, but it
could make it a weird, like different than what you're used to.
But the tower is always going to be as tall as the last color change.
Yes. So only thing I'm saying is that when you look in your settings in advance, see if you have that weird symbol that says like you manually changed something, like you actually goofed with the printer settings. So you caused that.
But if it's horizontal and you got two different colors in the horizontal, it's because you're printing two things that are different colors at the same level on the same layer.
And it's just doing its thing.
Yeah, it's just doing it's magic, right? We don't have to think about it.
Excuse me. Win3Print said, back in September 2025, I had no idea this tech was already in desktop mode, and I could use at home. I have something called essential tremors, which make it hard to draw a straight line. Yeah, this is definitely could be a tool that you don't have to, you're not using a saw or something that, your hands would have to be very steady, so to speak. So this could be definitely a good side hustle for you to use a 3D printer.
Let the laser do the straight lines. Right?
Yeah, laser 3D printers definitely could be something good for you.
See, I have no excuse. I have no tremors. I just can't draw straight lines. So that's why I use lasers. Put a pencil in my hand and you're getting a sketch, right?
Chris said I had to do one of those multi-round interviews for a job I had. The second round, I told them if you had no idea how I performed, I had to do an interview and quit on the spot. Wow. Funny story. I think I've told this before. I went to an interview once, and at the end of the interview, the woman asked me, "Have to ask you a question." I said, "Okay." She said, "When you're done at the store, do you always put your shopping cart back?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "Always." I said, "Okay, if you're that store that there's one shopping cart thing in the middle of the store, that's your problem. I'm pushing the cash to the closest curb, and that's as good as you're going to get. But they're all over the store like Walmart. I'm actually going to walk over there and put it away." Interview's over, and she says, "So I think I thank you for coming in, and I just want to let you know that we're going to choose to go with another candidate." And I, for one, was surprised that she actually flat out told me that I wasn't being selected, because most interviews don't do that. They do that, you find out later, or they just ghost you. And I said, "Well, can I ask why?" And she said, "Well, our company is really big on integrity, and you said you always put the shopping cart back." And I said, "Well, since you asked me a ton of questions, do you mind if I ask you a question?" And she kind of looked at me and she said, "Sure." And I says, "Have you ever pushed carts?" And she said, "No." And I said, "Well, I have as a kid. And you'd rather stay outside than go inside, because you go from outside to inside, since your feet are soaking wet, they hurt more. So you'd rather just be cold and almost numb than soaking wet and then cold, soaking wet and then cold. And it's so cold that your lungs hurt. And you can't really wear gloves because you got to be able to grab these things. We didn't have those robots like they did now, where a kid is just with robots pushing 100 at a time. You got to push it. So, it wasn't the struggle during the summer months. It was a struggle during the winter. And I said, so I always put them back because I remember those times. And guess what she did? She gave me the job. So That was crazy.
For compassion, right?
Noodle said data centers are going to be big on the East Coast now. It's government based. This is all I have to say about data centers. Whether you like it or not, they're going to be built. Okay. So in the United States, electrical companies cannot base their electrical prices off anything they want. They can't just make up a price and price gouge and just, choose to say, we're going to charge you $5 or whatever. They're mandated by law, by federal government, that they can only charge a certain percentage above their cost, right? And every so many months, they're allowed to go in front of the government and say, hey, our costs went up because of X, Y, Z, and we want to price increase the power. And then they're able to do the price increase. So the reason I'm saying this is because you're going to your court hearings at night and saying, no way, I want this, and, waving your flag. You don't want this data center in your town or your county, which is understandable. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't. But when you say no, right, what happens is, since it's not built in your county or state, all those billion-dollar taxes don't go to your taxes, to your public schooling, to all the stuff, right? It doesn't benefit you, right? But what it does do is when they go to the power company and say, hey, I need this amount of power, and the power company says, okay, that's going to cost $47 million for us to build the infrastructure to give you that kind of power. Guess what happens? The price of power just went up because that infrastructure has to be paid for. So when you said no and it went 2 towns over, you're in the same state. So you still paid it anyways. So now your bill went up and there's no benefit. So that's the only piece that I'd say. I'm not on the data center bandwagon. I don't build data centers. I go to court a lot at night, and I go to all these court hearings, and I hear others, the other people going to court about this, and I've heard both sides of the stories, kind of a fly on the wall, so to speak, when I hear all these court hearings. So that's my 2 cents that the advantages, at least from the taxes, because chances are if your county or state or town says no, 2 towns over is going to say yes. And it's because the economy is so bad. $1 billion in taxes, come on, that could do some drastic changes for a town. Nuda said, hello, flock cameras. I wonder if it's one of Daniel's, because Daniel says flock it all the time. Like, flock around and find out, or flock, everything's flock with Daniel. East Coast Chameleon, new name, I think. I work on one of the largest utility companies in the U.S., and I'll tell you that they pride themselves in training her for the job. I work for a large utility company in the U.S., and I would tell you they pride themselves on training here the job to perform. So even if we did electric, cable, and telephone. Oh, yeah. So, yeah. So a lot of here you go. She had more to say. As a company would mean more as a worker to do all of them at the same time. If you're a lineman, that's all you do. Yeah, so that's funny how we're talking about Hawaii Tel. How they do all of them. Because most of the time, transmission guys are not distribution guys. Low voltage guys are not electric guys. Cable guys. You don't cross those lines normally. Guys who did that have normally started one and kind of gradually progressed in their career to do them all. Pretty cool. So I have to ask then, are you a union brother? I am a IBW Local 9 brother. So if you are, and Roger was an IBW brother as well, or is a IBW brother. Chris said some slicers have an option of H versus V towers.
Yeah, horizontal or vertical towers. Yeah, although it's still going to be as tall as the last color change, no matter what.
Right.
Now, that's me. Well, that's true if you're using a tower, but sometimes you can also you can also do your purging as infill. So
yep.
So some printers you won't have some slicers you won't have a purge tower at all. It'll just stuff it into the infill. Yeah,
that's why I said go to your advanced settings and just make sure you don't have that weird symbol that says that you override the suggested settings.
Yeah,
and made something different than you're used to. And if it's suggested settings, then it's just doing that it's supposed to.
Speaking of slicers, man, Bamboo is getting their ass kicked with all these dumb lawsuits, right? And it's just like part of it is there's a half a dozen YouTubers complaining about it. So, but most, like, I personally don't care. What I care about is that I have a printer that works. But I get what they're saying, but I don't think it's as big a story as they're trying to make it out to be. But it's doing some real reputational damage to Xtool or to Bamboo.
So my whole thing is that same thing like we said with cameras, right? Do I believe I should have privacy? Do I think that like Ring or some of those kind of cameras shouldn't like be invading my privacy and like, sharing things or looking at things? You know how they're enabling all these AI features now. No, you know, same thing with the Bamboo. You know, do I feel that I purchased a product because of its capabilities, and now you're handcuffing me to restrict what I can do because what you deem printable and not printable, it shouldn't matter what I print with it. I purchased it. That's it, right? But I get the child safety nets, so to speak, in it. But I'll say again and again and again that I don't think that none of these new laws are about guns. I think that's just a gateway to get it accepted.
It's just a way. It's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yes.
Yeah. Fortunately, we're not doing any of that stuff in Canada yet.
Yeah. So
I think New York. I don't think legally here. I mean, the thing is, most of the laws I've seen in the U.S. are just dumb laws. There's no way they could enforce the thing because what they're suggesting in the law isn't even possible, right?
Right.
So, like the technology, it's not even that it doesn't exist; it can't exist. The way to do what they're writing into laws.
So I will do the clack call, clack. If you're on here, chime in. But we all know, I'm only putting this person. I'm not putting his personal business out there. He is very transparent that he was in law enforcement for a very long time. I won't say more than that. Won't share his personal business. But this topic came up when he was on our live, and one thing he said that was, let's just say, like, all the stars aligned in their favor. There's not an infrastructure in place that would be able to police that, like to make that possible.
Yeah,
like. There's so many ways easily around it that it's like almost laughable.
Yeah,
it's
well,
like the do it just to say that they're
compliant. The big challenge now with all these stupid laws is the intent is there, right? Oh, if we could just stop you from printing weapons, right? But the problem is, even if they can make commercial printers do that, they're like, I mean, tear a 3D printer apart. There's nothing in there that looks like it should only be used for a 3D printer, right? They're all off-the-shelf parts.
Yep.
So you can buy a bunch of stepper motors and some belts and some extrusion and you know a stepper motor controller and a Raspberry Pi, and you can build yourself a 3D printer that'll print all the fake weapons you want, right? Or all the plastic weapons. So the problem is, and this is, you know, to support your argument that it's not just about weapons, right? That you can print anything you want and nobody will know it happened, right? So the laws they're trying to put in place are only going to aggravate the innocent people. The criminals are not going to be bothered by this at all.
No, because there'll be an easy workaround. What do they say? Locks are not made for professionals; they're made for the average person.
Yeah, and in case of the California laws that are going to be passed, they're not even like, even if the technology could be built, they don't have enough law enforcement to enforce these things. Like you as a taxpayer want to pay like 10% of your taxable income to just have some guy wandering around looking for people who are printing ghost guns? Like, it's just not going to work, right?
I was going to share in our Facebook group a manufacturer, a filament manufacturer. I can't remember the name of the filament manufacturer, but a filament manufacturer shared a post on Facebook and it went viral. And it was a Baptist church in Texas who did a fundraiser that if you turned in a gun, it would pay you like $85 or $95 for the gun. Well, he brought boxes of 3D printed guns. Guess what they were? They were lowers.
Yeah.
So if he got pulled over on the way there, he didn't have a fully printed gun. He got $95, and the filament manufacturer. I'm going to share it on our Facebook. It says like turned $117 of filament into $9,600. So I said to one of my neighbors, like, "What the heck? That's a pretty good idea."
Yeah. Printer sales
I'm
just
my
went through
second
the
3D
roof.
printer. That's how I got my 3D printers.
But I don't think that was what Bamboo was up to, right? Bamboo didn't like the fact that they accused somebody of reverse engineering their software, which didn't happen because their software is in open source.
Right.
And all they did was pull out the new open source software and put the old open source software in there and get rid of all of the cloud support from Bamboo. So basically make the printer work like it used to work before they put all this lockdown stuff in.
I watched his YouTube video, that guy, when he went over the software, explained everything, so you had download it after we did that live, like 2-3 lives ago.
Yeah.
I watched his YouTube channel. How he's still showing you to download his software.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, so what happened was the guy who originally did it pulled it down, right? He just said, I don't want to be bothered with this. But there's now, at 2 weeks ago, it was 1,600 new sources. Like, so 1,600 people posted a new open source fork for that guy's software. And the argument is Bamboo, come at us. And the thing is, Bamboo doesn't have a case because the thing is their software and it's open source.
Right.
And what they're trying to do is apply a more restrictive law to an open source license that is not, it very specifically says you can't make this more restrictive than this license, right?
Right.
So it honestly wasn't worth Bamboo to go and try and intimidate people because it just makes them look terrible now, even though they still make great printers and I think at the core they're still a decent company, but they continue to make these moves that are
my gut reaction, right or wrong, is I think they have the infrastructure, at least as far as like the web interface, and they have the capabilities of kind of like being able to do that. And a lower end 3D printer, there's no way they could be compliant because they don't have that interface, right? So I think that they were trying to jump on the bandwagon early because if the government did lock them down, they'd almost be like the monopoly to be able to comply. Like, good luck catching up. We've been doing this whole time. That's kind of what I don't know, man. Maybe I'm way wrong.
I think so. So what Bamboo's infrastructure has is the ability to look at what you're printing, right?
Yes.
To look at your design and go, okay, that's bad. Right. I don't think that's why all of this stuff is happening. It's just that's a side effect of what they're doing, right? Because they want to be able to use the Handy app from anywhere. But they should have an option, and I get that they're trying to protect that because it costs money, right? Like it costs them a lot of money to keep that. It's a cloud application, right? So they're paying by the transaction for every user. So they really only want their own user because right now you can take that software and you can run it on a snap maker and you can use Bamboo's cloud, which isn't cool. Like, I get it, but I
didn't know that.
But they could easily implement an operation to say, hey, I want to run the Handy app, but only when I'm on my own network.
Right. Well, I mean, like, think about it.
I don't need their cloud.
Take a dollar bill and go put on any flatbed scanner if you've never done so before and scan it.
Yeah,
watch what happens.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
In the United States, it'll actually bring you to like a government's website, blah, 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 and say that basically you're not allowed to do that. And it's like, whoa. And I only know that because I actually tried. And what I was trying to do is I was trying to print $100 bill on a shirt in a DTG printer.
Yeah.
I went to Wikipedia and just downloaded it. I was like, okay. I got a high resolution photo anyways. I printed it. But yeah, that's how I found that out. So there are some type of restrictions like that.
It's built into all copy machines, all the major currencies. Like any of the G7 currencies, you can't copy those.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Anyway, I get it. It makes sense.
Right. what I'm saying is this is not the first of its kind. This whole thing that to me that was like early on one of the first type of
Yeah,
attempts of
but
that.
that's different, right? That's the. It's not even an assumption that you might break the law. You're breaking the law when you photocopy a bill.
Yeah,
Just owning a 3D printer doesn't make you guilty of anything,
agreed.
right? In fact, printing a weapon on a 3D printer doesn't make you guilty of anything. It's not a crime.
Right.
It doesn't become a crime until you take it into a 7-Eleven, right, at midnight and tell the guy to empty the safe. But this is the problem, right? This is the Minority Report thing all over, right? Like, we're doing this because we think you're going to commit a crime.
Yeah. Win3D Print says, I'm working on tiles, mostly a version of Norton method. I'm making new products I want to sell on Amazon FBA. My current 20-watt diode is making tiles for me 15 minutes. Nice. I know Amazon can be a beast. Roger said all the time, like, watch what you wish for, right? He signed up for it and couldn't keep up with it, so he jumped off. But I think it's definitely cool that Amazon doing an Etsy type thing, making a hand makers or a makers so that you can kind of compete with this Alibaba China who's jumping into the Amazon.
So there is a new, since we've been talking a bit about legal stuff, there's a new law kicking in California around AI. It starts on the 9th. So basically, if you have something like an Etsy listing and it either targets somebody in New York or it just generally ends up in New York as an ad, you have to be very clear that any representation of a person in your listing, like somebody wearing your shirt, if it's an AI generated person, you have to specifically say it's AI generated.
So Facebook just came up to me today. It did this. I don't know if it's because I have a professional account, if anyone ever seen this, but today it came up, whoop, and it was like 5 options. And it asked me, am I okay with them displaying this? So, and someone asked me this before. They're like, hey, Rick, are your pictures fake? Are they AI generated? And I said, no. And they said, why does it say in the top left-hand corner AI something on your Facebook post? And I said, oh, I have a thread on ChatGPT, and I say, optimize this for a Facebook post. And it creates the hashtags, it rewords my whatever, and it makes it more searchable friendly, AI title friendly to come up on Facebook as well as within Google. So Facebook automatically tags it and puts this like meta tag at the top in black, bold letters. And I can turn it off and on now. And I just left it on. I was like, yeah. But I get why people may think it's completely AI generated when all I was doing was optimizing the text. So what are your thoughts on that? Should I have that on? Should that be an option?
I mean, it's probably better on than off, right? Because if you are somewhere rooted back in the history of this thing you're presenting, there's some AI involved, and you don't know what level AI is involved in, right? Generally,
right.
So just out of caution, it's probably better to have it than not have it.
I left it on,
but I think it's the start of some serious regulation around AI. And, it's going to be good in a lot of ways, bad in a lot of ways. But it's the changing. Wild West right now, right? Like, it's just crazy.
Chris said, now, if healthcare could change the same way power companies are regulated. That's what Canada did. Canada, you can't charge ibuprofen $2,000 in the hospital when you can walk in Walgreens and buy it for $8. You can't do that. Canada, you can't do that. There's set laws.
Well, they don't charge you anything when you're in the hospital, right?
They charge the government. The government regulated. So did Mexico. The government regulated. That's why people in Texas, my cousin, he's a diabetic. He doesn't even drive. He literally walks over the border to the border town, the opposite side. Walks into a regular Walgreens type. It's not like it's a backyard bootleg special. It's a legit pharmacy. Hands him his prescription, and he buys it for like $18. Walks back over the border, and they say, "Are you declaring anything?" He said, "Yes, I have my diabetic medication." And he shows his papers, he shows his prescription, and they're like, okay, which would have been hundreds of dollars, Jerry. Because Mexico, you can't, they won't allow you to, basically, if anything is like required for your, like, you can't live without taking that medication. Mexico's like, nope, you can't price gouge us. They cap out the price. You know, certain things like
we
that.
have so recently here they've approved generic things like generic Ozempic and stuff, right, for diabetics, and because like Ozempic is crazy expensive, right? And so rather than pay like $200 a month for Ozempic, you can pay $50 or $40 a month for the generic one.
I don't take the insulin, but I've heard that like what's happening too is that there's two different types. People are using for losing weight, and then the people who are diabetic. But when the one that people are taking for losing weight runs out, or there's a shortage of supply, they start using the type that are actually people are using for who are diabetic, because it still has the same positive effects to them. But what that does is cause a shortage for people who need it for medical reasons. So
I don't know that they still have that problem. They seem to have ramped up the production line quite a bit.
Yeah, now that everybody's on it. I mean, it's insane. It's insane. I see people at work now that they're lost at least 150 pounds. Like, you look like a shell of yourself. And I just have to say this, like, hey, look, some people are just not meant to be skinny. Just because you're chubby, fluffy, doesn't mean you're ugly. You can be skinny and still be ugly, and you can be chubby.
You can get to the point of looking unhealthy, right?
Yeah, like you have cancer or something. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm obviously I've been right on the border of waiting for my doctor to say, yeah, you're getting something now. It's just as you get older, the risks go higher, and
my wife yells at me because I'll get the shakes, right? And I'll go inside and eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and I come back out and I keep working. And she's like, you need to go get checked. And I says, you know what that is? I didn't eat all day. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I've been working since 4:30 this morning.
No, you probably are borderline.
Yeah, I know, but
get your blood sugar checked.
I know. She yells at me. Yeah, but yeah. The good thing is I have a CDL, so at least I go for a full physical once a year for that. So I do my blood work. But Sanders Living Graven said 3 colors, identical items, but they are only 2 millimeters tall, and I haven't changed anything. This is it. Small Z height is automatic, horizontal is prime, and automatic goes horizontal for prime amount. Just look under those settings and see if it has that weird symbol, or if you're using the default settings. Go to advanced. I almost want to just open up Bamboo Lab.
I don't
share my screen.
I don't know that it's odd. I don't think the height has anything to do with it. But if you are printing 3 things in 3 different colors, I think that's probably going to trigger it to be 3 patches of horizontal tower rather than trying to squeeze it all into one.
So let's see. Oh, I guess I would need something with multiple colors to even need that, right?
Yeah.
Hold on. Hey, I'll circle back with you offline. We can go through it together if you want. Let me know. Noodle said, learn Fusion 360 and you can do an arc with 3 clicks or straight line with 2 clicks.
Yep. I've been using Fusion for almost a decade now. It's lately they've been doing a lot of interesting changes in it. Things that used to work really well. It's like, what the hell? Like, dimensions were messed up there briefly, and they fixed that. But
so Noodle said,
of good improvements. But
apparently, he is the king at 3D prints. So we'll see. It said Bamboo CEO is not very smart. I just
like I said, and I think this is probably the best way to put it, right? Like, I don't think Bamboo is trying to specifically hurt people, right? I think they just make these dumb decisions, and it's impacting their reputation. It's just so bad.
I almost think that from providing to a consumer standpoint, that if and when this becomes a law, be compliant. Maybe on the backside you're working on this so that if the government just rolled out these laws, you can be like, ha, we beat everyone to the punch. But early adaption, to me, is not in any way, shape, or form going to help you or benefit you in any other way, unless the government gave you some kind of like tax credit for,
Yeah, where it might help, if this is what they're planning on doing, is when the law kicks in, they can say, look, we already have one of these, and the government, whatever government enforced this law, can say, yeah, just do what they do, right? And all of a sudden they're starting to license their software to other companies.
Yeah, set the standard, so to speak.
Yeah. Now I have a feeling a lot of this stuff is going to be has to be built into the slicer, not just their cloud application. So the problem with that is all the slicers are open source, right? So what are they going to do? Ban, Orca slicer? Like, how are they going to do that? Because their laws are only effective in the U.S., right? They can't set a law for Australia.
VPN,
so Chris can go off and keep making slicers that break all these rules. And this is the real problem, right? They can't enforce this behavior in some other country that doesn't care whether you make a ghost gun or not.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I just think that right now, early adaption is not benefiting anyone, especially themselves.
Yeah.
If they were trying to be an early adapter, I get it, but I wouldn't socialize that.
But all they're going to do by doing this is they're going to outsource all of their plastic weapons manufacture, right? They're going to send it to some country that doesn't care. They're going to fill a container full of toys and ghost guns. And when that container arrives, the guy's going to open the door and go, yeah, it looks like a bunch of rubber ducks. And he's going to close it, and it goes off to wherever supplier it's supposed to, or whatever receiver it's going to go to. And they throw all the rubber ducks away, and they take all the value out of it, right? So they're stopping nothing with any of these dumb laws because it's not universal.
Yeah. I just don't know how they would truly monitor it. That's just my biggest thing.
Like it's not even universal across all the states in the US.
Yeah. Chris said Bamboo are doing the legal minimum to meet the open source requirements, just like a million other companies.
Yeah, and this is absolutely true, but that's fine. The problem is they're trying to put a more restrictive license on something that's already got an open source license, and they can't do that. So there will be open source communities that take them to court over it.
Clack was listening, so he did do some response. So first thing that said it's over the reach of the government. By the way, Clack said cocaine was made legal in 1914. Just saying. So.
Yeah. And of course it's gone now. We haven't seen any for. No,
I mean, there literally was cocaine in Coca-Cola. That's why it was called Coca-Cola.
Yeah. Well, it's because of cocoa, right? It's the cocoa plant.
Yeah. Uber said it worked well during the Prohibition era. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like you gotta kind of think like the man's coming down, so to speak, right?
Yeah, but all they're doing is aggravating honest people.
Yeah. Rick said, I'm really sorry I'm late. I wish I could have gotten here in the beginning. No problem. You missed the heated debate on the whole new laws.
He looks a little bit like Santa too, if you look at his picture. Yeah. Maybe Chris can recruit him. It took really he had to say Clack's name that third time before Clack responded though.
Yeah. It really works. Rick summoned Clack. There you go. March 3rd with Simple Bob, a 322 port computer via G code. Yeah, people are just Clack went on a deep end on this one and kind of was going over how it could easily be done. Not encouraging anyone doing it, but basically just stating the facts that
it's not that you even need to encourage people to do it. It's not hard. It's like the cat's out of the bag here already, right? Everybody knows how to make a slicer because they're open source. They can't rule that those things get removed.
That they're saying that that was the modern version of rubbing a old lamp, brass lamp, the clack clack clack. Clack said testing a machine and listing as usual. Thanks, brother. Appreciate you dropping in.
Hey, Clack. Clack's been doing a lot of CNC work there. I was looking at his post.
Chris said, bamboo, think enough control, they will become the new Apple.
Well, no, this is the problem. Apple doesn't control anybody the way that bamboo is trying to do this. Right? You can use Apple Cloud. You don't have to. There's a free tier so that you can do what you need to do with it. But these guys are outright trying to, what they're trying to do is restrictively license something that's already open source, and they can't do that. For one thing, it's open source. People are going to go, screw you. I don't care.
Uber said some battles aren't even worth fighting.
Yeah, I mean, and this one was one of those, not because, hey, Bamboo has a right to protect their legal values, right? Their intellectual property.
But I didn't know you could use the software.
But what they're doing is they're just completely damaging their reputation, right? Like they used to be these are the guys, right? The claw is our master kind of thing, right? If you see Minions, and all of a sudden it's like, well, you turned out to be evil, right? And
they'll never tell you their true intentions, but it's almost like you'd almost want to know, what are your intentions? What was the reason you chose to go down that?
Well, I on the surface, I get it, right? They don't want somebody with a non-bamboo printer using bamboo's resources.
That I get.
Right. But that's exactly what they're trying to stop, right?
But if they can MAC ID or serial number identify and say you can't use our software other than with one of our hardwares.
Yeah.
I mean, all you have to do is do a dongle cable, right? Like when you plug that dongle cable,
the serial number is already built into the printer.
Yeah.
Right. When the printer connects to the cloud, you just ask it what its serial number is and look at the account that's it, because you log into the printer too.
Right. It has to be registered. If it's not registered,
so if it's a valid serial number and it's registered to a valid bamboo buyer, you're in, right? Otherwise, sorry. Like they're taking the lazy route here and it's killing them. They should have just said, okay, software team, go fix this problem.
I didn't know you could use it outside of I thought it would only. I didn't know I thought it only worked with a bamboo printer. I didn't know you could use it. That's well,
no, crazy. But this is the problem, right? The guy took Bamboo's open source software, because they released it open source in order to make it work on their printer and on the slicer, and they took that and contributed it to a fork of Orca Slicer. Now everybody can run Orca Slicer, which means everybody can then connect to a Bamboo resource.
That's crazy.
So that's the root of why they're fighting it. I don't think they give a shit about whether somebody makes a ghost gun with their printer. They care that it's costing them money to support all these printers, and they don't need any more, right? They don't need non-bamboo printers. So I get why they're pushing back, but there's ways around that problem, right? You could
verify the serial number, verify the MAC ID. Yeah, absolutely. That's easy.
You put about a 300 character long serial number in your printer so somebody can't just accidentally replicate one. Right. And whenever the printer connects to the cloud, you ask, what's your serial number? And you go, yeah, okay, that one's valid.
Right. Chris said I paid $25, $15, $18 US for 25 insulin pens. See, that's insane. That's insane.
Yeah, you guys are paying like hundreds, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're cheap here too.
Yeah, there'd be hundreds of dollars here in the States. But like I said, certain drugs that are required for you to live, there should be caps. They shouldn't be billionaires. I thought when Russia said supposedly, and I don't know if that's going to be true, but they said they had that cancer vaccine, and they asked him, like, how much are you going to sell this for? And he laughed and he said, sell it. We wouldn't sell this. It should be free for the whole world. If this works the way we think it's going to work, it'll change everything.
Yeah, big evil corporations don't like free, though, right?
Right, but it was crazy that's the president of Russia, that and as bad as he is stereotyped, that he said, like, we would not sell this if this works, So that's crazy. I was surprised he said that.
Yeah. So Jim says, does the program you use for live streaming have closed captioning available?
So they have this thing where in the bottom right-hand corner, I can almost turn it on. In the bottom right-hand corner, it automatically pops up the chats, but they're super small. and it's hard to read. So I know Clack on his lives, he uses them. We use the comments. We share them as we're going along, so we
Yeah.
can keep up with the
If
comments.
if you're watching it on YouTube after, you can turn on captions from YouTube.
Right. Yes.
Because I think doing it, the answer is probably no to this question, Jim, because I think StreamYard's already doing a lot, and having it do on the fly captioning is probably a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, it would only do the comments, not us. Tony, when I built equipment for casinos years ago, I checked with the Treasury on duplicating currency and was told that less than 75% or bigger are 125% only 12 size one side only. So people are counterfeiting one side of the bill. I'm reading that right?
Yeah. Well, or you can make it smaller than 375%.
Okay. Santa's Living Great said, no, 3 identical items have red, white, and blue, all 3. Not a big deal. First time I've seen this in vertical. I checked all the settings, nothing changed. Send print, go. Run it.
Yeah. This is one of these times when I'll say, don't worry your pretty little head over it. It'll just take care of itself.
Hit send. You're good to go. Chris said, at least Apple gave back. Look how many of their standards under Thunder, Lightning, etc. Yeah.
And this is like, if you're just talking about product manufacturing, Apple got a bad reputation for, they're the evil empire because they want to control everything, but they gave all of this stuff back, right? The reason we have USB 3 is because it came out of an Apple standard, right? It's like Lightning connections or USB 3. And there's lots of that kind of stuff from Apple.
Yeah.
So they're not all evil. I don't think Bamboo's evil either. I think they're just trying to protect their interests. But
so if their pure intention is to say that they're paying for this huge servers to support their clients, customers, and they want to block people who don't legitimately own their printers, I say do it.
Yeah.
Because what's going to happen is if there's
cutbacks, but you don't have to do it with law, right? Or with legal. Right. You can do it with your software. Yes. Even if it is open source.
So Bamboo, if you're listening, stop. If that's why you're doing it, just verify ID. Yeah. Verify registration ID that you registered your printer. Yeah, so you have to be registered and you have to be verified.
Now, most Bamboo printer owners, I don't really think care at all about this. Right? It's like, yeah, whatever. Right? I go to the cloud, but they have a Bamboo printer. I really think what they're trying to stop is people with non-Bamboo printers from using the Bamboo cloud. Because that gives you access to Maker World and a whole bunch of other stuff, right?
Yeah, and to me that makes sense. That's that's a huge advantage of having all that. That's why I said that I thought that 3D print was the lazy man's way of making money, because a laser, diode, CO2, whatever, CNC, you have to babysit them. A 3D printer, I can be from my phone at work and printing jobs out, right? I don't have to be anywhere near it. So, yeah. Uh-oh. Want to take this?
Just Alan Jones. I think that's another new name. I just received my Eufy Make UV printer today. Thanks for the informative videos. You're welcome. I have expressed some concerns over Eufy Make's ink handling mechanisms. I think ultimately they're probably going to break down and change that at some point. But the printer itself is like rock solid. Like it's a really nice tool.
So full warning, you can't make comments like that on the live and not join the Facebook group and post some of your work. So let's see it. You got it. Let's see it. Let's see what you got.
It's a pretty compelling tool for a lot of stuff. I mean, color goes a long way, right? Like Like, there's lots of things like people go, oh, I can make a coaster with a diode laser. Yeah, it's going to be black text on a coaster. With a UV printer, it can be vivid color. Right now, you're in a booth beside somebody at a craft market, and they've got only diode laser engraving. You've got this color. Who do you think is going to sell, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and then again, you have people like Steve and I who will make some cool things, and then you have things like Skylar who would just be like,
yeah, who makes things that, it's like, I don't even know how to get to that address.
She mailed me magnets. She mailed me all kinds of stuff, and I was just like, holy.
Oh, I have some magnets. So the little mini fridge magnets, you can make really cool, and Skylar has done it too. You can make some really cool 3D ones, right? And they look great. Like, it looks like the kind of thing you're going to find at a souvenir shop. Oh, he's talking on the phone. Imagine that. What shocks me about the if you make E1 is that everybody has them now. Like, it's the new laser, right? Like, everybody's got one.
No, and I said that early on. I think that eventually those printers and 3D printers are going to be something that everyone's house would have. Eventually.
I think we're going to see a convergence between UV printers and 3D printers.
Yeah, I think it's going to become a normal thing in someone's house. Like, it's not some expensive thing, and everyone's going to kind of have those things.
Yeah.
You don't see as many Kinkos or these print shops anymore. Remember how many like those print shops there used to be when you wanted something photocopied or printed?
Yeah,
it was like
Staples. Yeah,
like there was like chains of just people. You want something printed, you'd go there and get it, and they're open 24 hours because if you're a business or whatever, and nobody has those kind of prints at home now. So I just think that it's coming. Eventually, it's coming. Chris, I don't really care what Bamboo does with prints. I design. How much will they make selling my right angle jigs brackets? Laugh out loud.
Yeah.
And
this is how I feel too, right? It's like, I print a lot of prototypes and stuff. Some of them arguably shouldn't be exposed, but I don't think Bamboo's looking at all these things they could print. Think about how many printers they have and how many people are printing. Do they have time to look at all of these designs and go, okay, that one, we want to sell that one?
They did kind of address that, though. That's the whole idea of the HD Pro, right? Like, you can have a LAN connection. You can avoid the cloud if you wanted to. Do I use the HD Pro for those features? No.
But you can do that with a regular H2D, right? You can turn on LAN only mode and turn off all the cloud. Now, the downside is you don't get to use the Handy app, even on your own network. And I think if they just fixed that, almost all of this problem would go away.
Yeah.
Because there's two conflicts here, right? I really like the Handy app, but I also really don't like sharing all of my designs with some mothership. So if they just made those two things work together on your local network, I think a lot of these problems would go away. They could say, look, you can run the Handy app. You don't need our cloud to do that.
At the end of the day, if they did that too, then they wouldn't have a bigger people to serve on the cloud if they're just eliminating the need.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't
use the amount of data. I mean, it has to be like insane amount of data go through that server because it's like there's no delay.
Yeah, it's going to be. I mean, it'll be a bunch of regional cloud stacks, right? So there'll be one for North America, probably a couple, but
I've never had buffering or some. It's been pretty on.
I mean, STL files are pretty small usually.
Right, but they have how many users you think?
Oh, they've got to have millions now.
Yeah. So
yeah, I mean, like this is the thing. They don't have scale to monitor everything that's going on that network, which begs the question: why do you need to have the Handy app only available if you're using the cloud? Given that I'm holding my phone and my printer's right there, I don't need to go to some server farm to get to it, right?
Yeah. Chris said I would get an E3 printer if we would bring in 36-hour days.
Why?
Well,
just
Trump is
just
saying
because he
that
needs more time to print?
Trump's saying, but he's going to change the laws so that we don't have the daylight savings times anymore. Like, it's just our time is our time. It doesn't change.
Yeah, everybody talks about that every time time changes.
I'll be honest with you. Like, I'm not a Trump fan, so I don't think I'm going to print. I just think it's stupid. Like, why do we change the time? I think it's so stupid.
Well, when it was the 1800s and farmers had to be done working in the fields by dark, fine, right? But because you make the sun settle an hour later, but tractors have headlights now, right? You don't care if it's dark or not. So it doesn't make sense. Ironically, in Canada, the only province that doesn't have daylight savings time is the one that has the most farms.
It even got brought up because of live. Did this not get brought up because of live?
Yeah.
People said, is the time going to change that we're doing the live because of daylight saving time? Like, still at the same time, we're not.
Well, it actually did. For people in Europe, it would have changed for a couple of weeks because they do their time change a couple of weeks after we do.
Oh, okay.
But then again at the other end, there's a couple of weeks difference, but it catches up a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah. So the M2 color print ability on wood, is it dull or vivid?
If the wood is not sealed, it's you get what you expect on wood, right? It bleeds a little bit, it sinks into the wood quite a bit. But if you seal the wood, you can get there are some sealers that are designed to do this specifically for inkjet printing, and then it looks like paper.
Nice. Wow, we're already actually at time. It's 8:31. We're 1 minute over.
Well,
yeah. Went by fast. So thank you everyone for joining the live. Appreciate everyone in the comments checking in. Let us know where you're joining from. Thank you for everyone for the questions. And again, if you're not already a member, I would highly, highly suggest and encourage you to join our Facebook group. I will not be on next week's live. Enjoy next week's lives with Steve and Skylar, and she has some amazing things to share with you guys on her new CNC adventures. Steve, you want to close us out?
No, I have nothing to say. Well, I'll be spending the rest of this week and half of next week trying to make some free space in my shop. I got a CNC dropped on my floor at about 4:00 this afternoon too, and it's like put it wherever you can find a piece of concrete because there's not a whole lot of room. So yeah, and I'm kind of tied up right now.
Okay. Nice one, guys. I will see you in 2 weeks, and enjoy the live next week with Steve and Skylar. Thanks, everyone, for joining.
Mostly Skylar because I don't really add value. So
come on.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.